I think we keep this. Keep this in there. Keep it in. And let's, are you getting ready to scream? Do you have your...
I'm getting ready to scream. I got to untangle some wires.
All right. This is the behind the scenes. We should charge for the first 30 seconds of the show only. Put it behind a paywall. People will get a sense of how professional we actually are. You got your headset? Oh, you don't have the giant cans anymore.
No, we got to
That's production. Yep.
I'm plugged in.
All right. You're going to scream?
Read all about it.
Jesus, that sounded terrible.
Sunday papers, Golden, Colorado. A lot of news going back to the 1800s from the local paper. Back when there was a lot of chlamydia and killing of Indians and stuff that went on in this town.
Trigger warning. I wonder what the people in the next room are thinking when they hear this outburst.
They can hear every word because this hotel is a fucking dump and the walls are paper thin and it's not what I'm accustomed to. My window overlooks an air shaft, and there's padding on the mattress that doesn't reach below your ankles, so your feet are on a different texture than the rest of the bed.
All right, I was in a crowd. So, all right, I go to Michigan to drop off Sophie, my oldest. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, I get into town, and they're like, I call the hotel. I'm like, I'm going to be checking in late, because we're going out to dinner and everything first. And she's like, okay. And she goes, I have some good news and I have some bad news. And I'm like, I wasn't expecting to hear any news. And she's like, okay, the good news, the bad news is we had a flood and you're unable to stay here tonight.
Oh, shit.
The good news, and by the way, the town is sold out because everyone is there moving their kids into the dorms. So we were able to find you a room, and I'm like, where is it? She's like, no, it's nearby. And it was. So they put me in that, and that was a Comfort Inn or something like that, but really low, really like motel type status.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I stay there, and they're like, but the good news is I think we're going to have it cleaned up. I'm like, well, how cleaned up? I mean, floods kind of linger, like, you know, the next day, even if it's dry. So she's like, well, no, tomorrow. So anyway, or you can stay in the hotel you're in, but you'd have to pay for it because it's more expensive. Whatever. I called them the next day. My hotel that I stayed in did not have any more rooms. Totally sold out the next night. So I had no choice. So I called them and they're like, yeah, your room's ready. So I go to the hotel that night to check in. She's like, how was your stay last night at the place we put you up in, you know, the Comfort Inn or whatever? And I go, it was good. She's like, well, I was going to say, because that's a lot better than this place. And I'm like, oh no, because what I stayed at was what you are describing. I mean, a view out to a vent. Like, it's like, do you need a place to be unconscious for 6 hours? This is your place.
Yeah.
That's kind of the mode.
Right. You know, it's not good when you see the other people that are checking in have coolers. That's never a good sign. When they bring their own pillows.
Yeah.
And
the coolers are for the organs. They're just expecting to wake up in a tub of ice with their kidney gone and a note. They're just bringing the cooler just so, you know, the person gets their kidney.
You're like, do you have an ice machine? Okay, good. No reason I'm asking. This is...
It's cool if we hibachi in the room, right? That's all right.
You allow pets? Okay.
Chickens.
But listen to this. So I get an email from a guy who went to my show last night.
All right.
And he says to me, wanted to thank you for a great show in Golden on Friday. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, here. Dear Greg, love the show. Quick side note. When we checked into our hotel, the staff asked what we planned to do. I told them we were going to see your show Friday night, and one of them immediately told us that you were staying in the hotel as well. He then said that you were not at all funny when you were checking in. I tried to politely explain that stand-up comics aren't always on. He didn't seem to buy that explanation. So
club owner said the same thing. Oh man. That's not exactly the privacy. I mean, why use your fake name if you're going to just be outed by the front desk?
You're right. Cunty McShitballs. I say that every time. You know, it's called Tabletop Hotel, by the way, or Table Mountain View Hotel, by the way. And
Air vent view.
It's fucking terrible. But the show's been good. I was
nice.
I always joke around with our friend Greg Gurman about like when I go on the road, and you know, there's the times where I show up and I go into a low grade depression and I don't leave the room except to like go to the shows, and people are like, "How was Pittsburgh?" And you're like, "I can tell you how the fucking car ride from the hotel was and the room, and that's it." But you go. Or sometimes I'm that guy, which means I'm the guy that goes out. Yesterday, does radio at 6:30 in the morning, is back in the room at 8 a.m., rents a mountain bike,
Look at you.
and then rode 10 miles on one of the toughest trails in Golden around this fucking mountain. I'm talking boulders, steep incline, rattlesnakes, fucking crazy. And so I drove up like an hour to go up, and then when you come down, this bike that the guy recognized me at the bike shop, so he gave me this like $7,000 mountain bike with really fat tires.
It's very dangerous coming down.
Oh yeah. So he told me lower the seat all the way down when you're coming down. So I lowered the seat, which you do with your thumb. You can lower. You can lower the seat, and I come down, and Mike, I have not giggled with joy like that in a fucking years. I had so much goddamn fun. I'm ripping down the hills. I'm jumping over boulders. I got the back brake skidding because it's like a cutback path, so it's like sharp turns, and I'm like putting on the back brake and sliding around the turns. I was going crazy. It was so much fucking fun.
I'm glad you had a good bike, because I think you might have taken a spill otherwise.
I fell once.
So many people fall.
Yeah.
Like, you see their outfits. They have to protect their ribs.
Yeah.
Like, it's really way more dangerous than you think.
No, people break their collar. Aaron's brother broke his arm really bad. He's got a scar going all the way up it. But and then I came back, and it was like 88 degrees out and dry and, you know, high altitude. And so I come back into Golden, and there's this river that runs through the town, and it's snow runoff. It's freezing cold. And I fucking stripped down to my underwear, and I dove into this river. And it was...
Well, now you're like the people you made fun of checking into the room with goats. Like, now you're the embarrassment in the town. Oh, look at fucking Coney Island over here. Came to Golden.
And so then I get back on the bike, and I'm dripping fucking water all over this $7,000 bike. I'm giving it back to the guy soaking wet. He's like, "Thanks a lot."
That's a great day out.
It's a great day out. I'm back in my room by 12:30, and I'm a hero. I jerked off, took a nap for 2 hours, woke up. Nice.
Still soaking wet from the jerking off?
Yep.
That's impressive. You were able to get another load out after cranking one out in the river.
Well, there's a lot of pretty Coloradans. There are good-looking women in Colorado. Holy shit, all natural.
So you saw the video I sent.
Oh my God, dude! Do you really want to talk about that?
Maybe not, but yeah. Well, it was one thing. It's like, I know who I am, and I know I'm doing it for comedic stuff, and I'm sending you guys pictures of like. So I'm in Michigan. And it is just groups of girls. I'm using that term accurately. They're almost all 17 or 18. I think they're almost all freshmen, because that's why they're...
We're going to take a quick break and promote delivery.com. I'm just trying I'm trying to get you off this topic before you get yourself in trouble.
Anyway... But as a parent, and I'm dropping off a good-looking daughter, I am concerned with how little clothing. I know I sound like an 80-year-old guy. Maybe I'll move it to that instead of a 50-something-year-old creep. It's ridiculous how little clothing they're all wearing, and packs of them. So I take out my phone because I'm in such disbelief. So now I'm the 50-something-year-old guy recording and taking but I'm sending it to you guys. Like, you can't even turn around. I literally was live turning. I was surrounded by throngs and this is what they're wearing.
Yeah.
It's almost like a uniform.
Yeah.
Bikini top and the craziest cutoff jean shorts.
Right.
It's as if you were casting like, hey, let's make the stereotypical you girls are going to run a car wash that's like homoerotic at a like
for the USA the USA Network, the midnight showing of BODZ, BODZ, with a period after each letter.
Yeah, or wasn't there something in like Cool Hand Luke, right, where they had that image like he was staring at.
Right.
Anyway, it was it was bonkers. And I know Michigan's enjoying one of their few sunny, beautiful summer days, but during the school year. But oh my God, it was crazy. And then I start like saying, I'm like, Sophie, this is like, Dad, calm down. And she's like, there's a big foam party. I'm like, what? And she's like, that's why they're dressed like that. It's a foam party. And I'm like, what are you talking? So my daughters explained to me, like I'm a caveman, what a foam party is. And they can't explain how they generate this foam. Of course, that's what I'm asking. And so, but the next day, it's the same thing. And I'm like, Sophie, is there a foam party today to explain these basically naked? And she's like, I don't know, Dad. We're not talking about it anymore. It was insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like here in Golden, people are just bikini tops are pretty standard. People just walk around in them.
Yeah.
It really, and people. If you had shown me, number one, a girl without a bra, when I can remember being in Manhattan, and once in a while you'd be in the East Village and you'd see a girl without a bra. It was a big fucking deal. It was like, holy shit. And now it's like standard. It's like not unusual to see girls with no bras on.
Right. Yeah.
And bikini bottoms that are thongs. If you had seen a girl with a thong on the beach in the 90s, you would have been like, a crowd would have formed. And now it's pretty standard.
That French woman over there.
What's that?
Like it would be like a foreign person.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to remember to talk about the Stanley Kubrick thing.
Welcome back to Old Guys Who Can't Believe Hot Chicks Are Wearing Very Little Clothing.
Well, I have that dumb joke where it's like, they would notice me like, take a picture. It'll last longer. I'm like, another one? I already took one picture. You want? So I should take another one?
So how was the drop off otherwise?
It was good.
Were you sad?
I didn't get we were a little rushed. So I took then a shuttle to the airport and it was great. As if by design, that Irish design of pushing down the emotions. So everything was really happy and ending on high notes. But when I walked back into my place here that night after a flight and everything, it hit me pretty hard. And I texted her immediately saying it like, I see her frying pan on the drying rack. Now, this sounds weird, but that was her frying pan because she's celiac. So we couldn't do like French toast in there or a million things. So that was dedicated. That was hers.
Yeah.
And then to see that here, like it was just a reminder, never mind, her room and stuff like that. So I got very sad when I got home. So I just started thinking about all the other girls in their bikini tops. And it somehow didn't get sadder.
Did you text them also?
Well,
Thinking
I wanted
about
to publish
you.
I wanted to go on the parents page at University of Michigan and be like, are these your bitches? Look at them. I'm furious.
They're all going to be pregnant by the second semester.
I will say, okay, I'll tell this story now. So on the way home, I'm on a flight from Detroit, a Delta flight from Detroit to here. So first of all, one thing I saw, which is funny, I went into movies and then I did comedy. And under comedy, the third movie suggested is Do the Right Thing. You know how hysterical that race riot was. So, all right, that's number one. So then I'm like, all right, what should I watch here? And I see Full Metal Jacket. And I haven't seen Full Metal Jacket in a long time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to watch the opening 5 minutes, right? Yeah. So I watch them, and it's so arresting. It's, it's Kubrick. I mean, no matter, anyway. So it gets to the scene in the first part of the movie, which it's like it's two movies. So in the first movie, when they're in training, basic training, it gets to the famous scene where the guy kills the commanding officer and then turns the rifle on himself.
Yeah.
And so violently blows his brains out. I don't know, by the way, special effects, I don't know how they did it. And his brains smash against the wall behind him. So I'm watching this scene, right? And it is fucking tense. Not only, with the headphones on, but it's Kubrick. So it's visually, it reminds me, the lighting and everything, definitely Clockwork Orange vibes, and Shining. It's Kubrick, man. It's literally a visual language that's Kubrick. So it's impossible not to be riveted.
Right.
And so the guy turns the rifle, puts it in his mouth, pulls the trigger, his brains smash. The Asian woman next to me jolts against her seat. And I'm like, I get startled. I jump out of my seat because she hits the back of her seat so hard. And I look over and she's traumatized. By the way,
she's probably Vietnamese. You're not seeing her side of the story. She knows where he's headed.
They're not even there yet. They're not even there yet. So she has headphones in and is watching like fucking Sleepless in Seattle or something on her monitor. But she watched this and she looks at me like, what the fuck is that? And there's no on Delta. There's no like a filter that, that sort of, you can't see what's next to you. I'm so inarticulate right now, but there's no filter that's like, mitigating like how much you can see on the filter next to you. So, anyway, I literally felt compelled. I'm like, oh, he went insane. Like, I'm now pointing to my screen at the dead guy whose brains are on the wall. I'm like, the other guy was too rough on him and he snapped, But he said in the beginning his job was to filter out those who can become killing machines. Are you still listening?
You see, they're headed to the Pacific Asia area. They're going to kill a lot of Vietnamese people, so they have to be really well trained. You have to understand.
But honestly, good luck. You have 3 seats. The center seat is playing that scene from Full Metal Jacket. I don't care if the guy on the right seat's playing porn. You are not able to watch what you're doing when you're if a certain Kubrick scene is playing anywhere in the vicinity, that's where your eyes are going to go.
Right. I was on a flight coming back from a gig in Buffalo, New York. And when I write out my jokes, I was working on my material. And when I have my jokes, I usually just write a couple of words. So it's like a sheet of the sheet just has like 2 and
bullet points.
Bullet points, and they say the craziest things. Like for my jokes, it says like gay wizard, rape the Boy Scout, and so now I noticed
what's this guy's to-do list.
This guy next to me is fucking staring at my screen. He's not peering out of the corner of his eye. His neck is turned and he's staring at it, and I get very uncomfortable. So I typed at the top, "I'm gonna strangle the passenger next to me," and he just picked up his book and he started reading.
Well, now when you're putting that thing in there, like want to eat feet, whatever your things are, you should have Full Metal Jacket playing on the monitor right above it. The guy won't see a single thing you're typing.
And just fart the entire time. Just be the dream passenger.
But boy, I wound up, of course, watching the whole Full Metal Jacket. Oh, good Lord. Just the opening 20 minutes with that screaming commander.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Deer Hunter.
Talk about trigger warning. I mean, it's the N-word. Everything is in it.
Right. And it's like the Deer Hunter. It's like 2 different movies. There's the state side, and then there's the Vietnam side.
Right. And really, really interesting. I mean, it's like they had roast jokes written for that guy. Yeah. Like, he's like, do you suck dick? And he's going around. But then he goes up to the guy who eventually kills himself, and he's like, did your mother have any children who lived?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's hysterical.
I think they pulled that out of real Marine drill sergeant talk. Like, I think those are kind of standard hacky lines. Oh, is that right? He really was a drill sergeant?
He was the guy, and then he became an actor.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, he was good.
No. It's unbelievable. And he has unblinking screaming at guys, looking right through their eyes. And they had to time it. his walks around were absolutely timed because he had to say certain things in front of like the black soldier.
Yeah.
And then the next, and like it was real. And sometimes it's just a glance.
Yeah. Chris
Oh
just
my
wrote
God.
he was a consultant, and then they put him in because he was so good.
Oh, wow.
That's like
I mean, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He really was.
that's like the chick in The Office that was the casting director, and then they made her the overweight office worker with the glasses.
Oh. Also, I think the
Phyllis.
head of HR. I think the head of HR was a writer. Yeah.
Oh, she's from St. Louis, apparently. Chris Denman was writing in.
Ah.
And he's seen her at some of the neo-Nazi rallies. That's weird. I wouldn't peg her for that.
I think Toby, is that his name from HR? I should know the
What
English
about him?
office, American office better than I do. He was like a writer, I believe.
He was the showrunner.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
All right.
Jesus.
Well, that's the thing. You've been on projects where it's like, at late night, like you'd put the receptionist has a certain quality or whatever. Like that receptionist goes on air. Conan does it. Conan does it famously.
I was watching a...
Oh, Creed. That's right. Creed wasn't supposed to have a role either. The old guy who's
Yeah.
super creepy.
yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
I was watching a rerun of The Office the other day. Holy fucking shit. I would put this scene against any scene in a sitcom in history. They've got the CPR dummy, and he's got to give it mouth to mouth, and he's got to push on the chest.
Yes.
And he says, and he's pushing it, and he's going, no, you're going too fast. You got to do it to the beat of like Staying Alive.
Yeah.
And he starts singing the wrong part, the slow part of the song, and then everybody starts singing it with him, and then they start dancing, and then they say, the dummy's dead now because nobody called 911, and so now what do you do? And somebody goes, bury it, and Dwight goes, no, and he pulls out a hunting knife and he guts it. He goes, we got to harvest the organs. And so he's harvesting the organ, and then at the end and then the camera goes away, and then it comes back to Dwight, and he has carved the face off the dummy, and he has it over his own face. It's fucking hilarious.
That's amazing.
Okay, one more thing. Chris Denman's very active today. Fun fact: Creed was in the band The Grassroots.
I'm just glad he wasn't in the band Creed.
Yeah, I think less of him.
Yeah.
So later on, speaking of music, we're going to talk about Charlie Watts, the great Charlie Watts. I feel like it should be in the lead, but we'll save it for the obituary where it belongs. And we'll talk also in the entertainment section about Billie Eilish's new album. So we got a lot to talk about. Speaking of music, we want to thank, holy shit, John Barron.
Sorry, I just had a text that I had to answer. Did you say we're going to talk about the movie Pig?
Okay, and we'll talk about the movie Pig.
I can't recommend it more highly. With Nicolas Cage, we'll talk about it later. All right, go ahead.
Speaking of great songs, John Barron Jr. out of the park with this fucking theme song. I got to tell you guys, from the bottom of my heart, it is so meaningful that you take the time and the energy and your talent to
It's
give
amazing.
us a year and a half. We've had a different theme song every single week. And once in a while, we play one that's really horrible just because it's so horrible it's funny. But I would say 97, 98% of the time, they're legitimately really good songs. And so thank you guys for doing that. And the logos as well. Melody Myers did a hilarious takeoff on Nirvana's Nevermind cover with, you're probably looking at it.
Look at our penises.
And our penises are in it.
And we're not going to sue, ever.
We're going to talk about that later also. A lot of teasing of the show.
How about the irony that the kid, we're going to talk about that story, but it's literally a depiction of him chasing money.
Right.
That's what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Corrections department.
The part where I state the obvious.
Do you have a paper to crinkle?
No, I don't. I
Wait,
canceled.
are we having, I think Midcoast Media is doing the crinkling now, right?
Sure, let's leave it to him.
Chris, did you guys do that last week?
I have a Ricola wrapper. It's not exactly that crisp. I don't know what else I
can't
got.
see if Chris is writing to us or not.
Oh, I have a package of...
oh, yes, they can add it in. Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Corrections department. Hey, Greg, love the pod. Just to let you know, Hep C is almost 100% curable now. Also, almost never transmitted sexually, usually transmitted intravenously. Johnson W. Was that this podcast we talked about whether or not you'd have sex with Pamela Anderson with Hep C?
No, not this I'm happy to talk about it.
Would you, in fact, make love with Pamela Anderson knowing she has Hep C? No condom. No condom.
No, and I know what this guy just wrote. The answer is yes, and I know what this guy just wrote in also.
What if you didn't know that he wrote that in? What if you had a 1 in 100 chance of catching Hep C by making love to Pamela Anderson? Would you do it?
A 1 in 100?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, Hep C is 100% curable now, according to this correction.
Well, you forget about this letter. I wish I'd never heard from this guy.
Well, they said a man having what was it? And it's probably even higher now, but like a man having sex with an HIV positive woman unprotected was a 1 in 800 chance of getting it or something.
Yeah, you can barely get it, but I think women can get it from men at a much, much higher rate.
Yeah, that study was in the Who Gives a Shit department. I didn't read that section of the study.
That's in the dealwithit.com section of our university.
Yeah, this study, we got footnotes, we got excerpts, and we also have complaints. That's going to go in the complaints section.
Yeah, I think, what if Pam Anderson had crabs? Let's assume she has pubic hair. She has crabs. Would you have sex with her, knowing that crabs is very curable? You get a comb and you get a bottle of that lotion and... after...
Oh, wow. You know a lot about it.
Oh, yeah, I do know a lot about it.
Wait, well, hold on. Okay, it's one thing that Pamela Anderson has crabs. Does she have a time machine? Am I hitting today's Pamela Anderson?
Yes.
Or 1988's Pamela Anderson?
Today's Pamela. She still looks good.
She looks good with her crabs.
Well,
Of course with crabs. That's like saying, I don't know what that's like saying. Like you wouldn't go on the most unbelievable hike and risk maybe a little poison ivy that goes away.
right. Yeah. She'd be a great hike. Bring water.
She'd be a great hike. But really, I'd want to get to know her first. And I wouldn't get crabs, just getting to know her over drinks.
Actually, I would like to get to know her. She seems like a very cool chick.
Is this a picture of her?
Now look at that. She really is beautiful.
She's still good looking.
She is beautiful.
Well, she's a little weird looking. She has a very bulbous head. If we're gonna try to look for things to turn us off a little, because the crabs certainly didn't do the trick.
Is there a woman you would make love to knowing that she has herpes and she's blistered? Scarlett Johansson? Would you still make love to Scarlett Johansson?
No. I say that now. No. Herpes is the thing I'm most terrified about.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I mean, I don't know. I apparently I have the herpes 1 or whatever they call it. Like 90% of the people, do you know one of the main reasons you get the herpes? I don't know what. So listen, I don't know what I'm talking about. That's the headline. But whatever the herpes 1 is, or whatever the simple one is, do you know one of the biggest ways it's transmitted are adults kissing babies?
No, really?
Yeah. Like, and this is no jokes. This is innocently like an uncle, look at the new baby, and you give it a kiss or whatever it is. I shouldn't have said uncle. Aunt kissing the baby. So anyway, that's one of the one of the big ways. I wouldn't say I don't know where it is. But yeah, that's it. And that, yeah. So also, so many people have it. So that testing place, right? Like I've gone and gotten tested, just done a panel, or I'll have it in my checkup. But these places that test for STDs, they even say, hey, part of our offer is you then get free consulting, but you get free consulting on any positive result except that herpes 1, because we're expecting almost all of you to have it.
Right. I don't think I have it. Our good friend has the bad herpes. I think you know who I'm talking about.
I don't.
He got it from his wife, who brought it into the marriage after they were married, which is always fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
He's.
I don't know who that is. We'll chat offline.
I'll write it into the document right now.
This Google Doc that can be hacked? Oh, yeah, okay.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's probably why he feels like a victim in this political culture.
All right, here's some information from Chris Denman. We got to give him a raise. He's working his ass off today.
All right.
Do we pay him? According to the Center for Disease
I
Control,
owe him money.
more than 1 in 6 people in the United States between the ages of 14 and 49 have genital herpes. Globally, about 60% of people below the age of 50 have HSV1. That's type of herpes, I guess?
That's the one I'm talking about, I think. One, yeah, the first one.
Wow.
Oh, wait, sorry. Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Roughly 70% of people in the world have herpes.
Yeah.
Speaking of herpes, we are bringing...
By the way, that includes people who aren't getting lucky at all. So if you are dating, they say the number's way higher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're in the dating pool, if you're single and even go on one date a year, if you took that, so you're taking out all the married people, whatever, let's get to the news. But if you took out all the married people and all that stuff and the people who don't date or identify as asexual, the number of people with that HV1 or whatever it was called, it's way higher than 67%.
Well, we're bringing our herpes to Sacramento. We're doing our first live...
Like bringing sand to the beach.
Our first live Sunday Papers podcast at the Sacramento Punchline. That's going to be on September 18th.
Dude, that's soon. Am I doing that?
Yep.
Let me check my calendar.
And then I'm going to be doing stand-up comedy there September 16th through the 18th. Mike is going to maybe do some stand-up spots on Saturday night. I don't know when you're getting to town, but if you come in on Saturday, we can do that.
This is Saturday, September 18th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Comics, Mohegan Sun on September 23rd through the 25th in Connecticut. San Francisco Punchline, I'll be there November 4th through 6th. If Sacramento goes well, I think I may try to convince Mike to come up to San Francisco. The club owner has asked Mike to come to San Francisco.
No.
Yeah, Molly, who's the coolest chick in the world.
Hold on. The Punchline is supposedly one of the great clubs.
It's my favorite club in the country.
All right. I am crazy honored that person even is aware of my existence.
Yep. So
wow.
Maybe we come up there, and I checked, and I'm good friends with the guy from not good friends, I'm friends with the guy from the 49ers, and there's a game on Sunday. So if you came up on Saturday, we could do Sunday Papers on Saturday, November 6th, and then go to a game on the 7th against Seattle for free. We'll get good tickets in the box, the whole thing.
All right, as long as there's nothing else, because I'm trying to limit my weekends to 2 super spreader events. So...
Also, I'm going to be coming to Boston and Portland. Check dates at fitzdog.com. That's where you're going to get your tickets. Mike, you're going to be gone a lot. I'm going to be gone a lot. I think it's important that you keep your home safe. The best way to do it is with Simply Safe Home Security. Their founders,
about it.
Their founders, Chad and Eleanor Lawrence, designed their first security system in their kitchen. And they had friends that had been broken into, and they wanted to come up with a solution.
How valuable was their kitchen? All right, keep going.
Well, they had good crock pots from their wedding.
They had a souffle that if someone came in, if they broke in at that time, it could have fallen.
It doesn't matter where you are, you will likely be robbed in your lifetime. That's according to my statistics. And I was robbed when I lived in Little Italy. I lived in the building above the Ravenite Social Club, John Gotti's headquarters.
Yep.
It was a 6th floor walk up, and I thought, I'm never fucking getting robbed. First of all the old Italian ladies had their doors open on every floor. And as you walked up to your 6th floor apartment, you said hello to Gina and then Maria and then Teresa, and they were all stirring pots, and they'd give you fucking plates of pasta to bring home. But anyway, the point is there was no way anyone was going to rob my apartment. Wrong. Somebody came in through the roof, like the movie Mean Streets, and they robbed they took I had all my stand-up cash from doing spots in the city was on my desk. I had thousands of dollars, and it was robbed.
You had your notes with your wizards and all that.
That's right.
Taken.
So look, Simply Safe has been doing this for about 15 years. It not only drives every engineering detail in its products, but it motivates every interaction with its customers. And the thing is, it makes it so easy, it takes 2 minutes to customize the system on their website. Simplysafe.com/papers. Highly trained security experts ready whenever you need them, whether it's during a fire, a burglary, a medical emergency, or when you're just setting up the system. There's always someone there who has your back to keep you safe and make sure you feel safe. As our listeners, you can save 20% on your Simply Safe security system and get your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring service. Just visit simplysafe.com/papers to customize your system and start protecting your home and family. That's Simply Safe, SIMPLI safe.com/papers. Okay. Also, when we're going to the football game, we may want to play some bets. Best way to do it, Stat Hero, baby.
Nice.
You like to gamble, right?
I do like to gamble. Oh, am I supposed to articulate that? I usually lose, and Stat Hero is enabling me to have better chances to win, Greg.
It's because you're not playing against walls of computers. They've got 85% of people lose in their daily bets.
That's it?
You're playing against thousands of other lineups, not to mention experts. They have more tools than you do. So Stat Hero is the first ever daily fantasy sports book that puts the player in control and winning within reach. Here's how it works. Stat Hero shows you their lineups and dares you to beat them. It's you versus the house in a head-to-head fantasy matchup. You name your stakes. Winner take all. You have the advantage. Stat Hero is showing you their lineups ahead of time. No one else does that. So, I mean, I did it with golf, and we did you do the single elimination every day, and you're part of a pool, and it was great. I doubled my money. So, let's see. You're in control.
I think you got to go to stathero.com/papers.
Right. Sign up for free. And right now, you can get 3 times back on your first play. They're giving you a 300% match. That's unheard of. Go to stathero.com/papers, stathero.com/papers. Okay, now let's go to the front page.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Okay.
Why don't you handle this one?
All right, you put this in there. It's very long, but...
Well, just don't read the whole thing.
All right. Live read. Sturgis update. 2 weeks after the annual motorcycle rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, reported COVID infections in the state have risen nearly sixfold.
Oh, boy.
South Dakota counted 3,819 new cases in the past 2 weeks, including 7 deaths, up from 644 cases in the 14 days preceding it. That makes it the state with the largest percent increase in COVID cases in the past 2 weeks. So I read a little bit about this, and they're like the South Dakota, whatever it is, the head of disease or something, whatever that official position is trying to downplay it and is trying to introduce the concept that, hey, we don't know that the, motorcycle rally is responsible for it. Well, I would just say it's the biggest coincidence ever.
Yeah.
Then.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It would be like if Pamela Anderson came over to my house for tea and then all of a sudden I caught crabs. Is it a coincidence?
Right. And they would say, well, crabs was on the rise in your neighborhood, Greg, before Pam came over, but still.
Yeah.
What are you gonna bet on? So anyway, Meade County is now reporting 36% positivity rate with about 1 in every 3 COVID tests returning a positive result. So this guy I really like, Dr. Michael Osterholm, I think whatchamacallit had him on Joe Rogan really, really early in the pandemic, first couple of weeks. And because of that guy, everyone my family called me very negative regarding the virus because he just laid out it's textbook. This is what they study. And he laid out how long it was going to be. So when my kids asked, do you think school's going to, be in session in a few weeks or months or whatever, I'm like, I have to say it doesn't look like it. And they thought I was the negative Nelly. So anyway, he came out this week and he was like, he was talking about Sturgis and he was talking about these events. And one thing he just said was, and this was interesting, the coronavirus forest fire will keep burning any human wood it can find, he said. It will find you, and it's so infectious.
Wow.
So if you open the door to it finding you. So he tweeted recently this week, there was a school where like 6 in 12 people, whatever. Anyway, he goes, and this school was located in a city where 72% of the residents were fully vaccinated. Masks were required in the classroom and 6 feet of distancing between masks. With HEPA filters in the classroom and the windows left open. Yet 12 of 24 students in that classroom were infected when the teacher tested positive.
Unbelievable.
And that teacher was not required to have the vaccine and was unvaccinated.
She was unvaccinated, and then a bunch of parents caught it from the kids, and yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad, and it's time that people wake the fuck up and realize that you got to stop thinking about yourself. Think about society. You will have less chance of carrying it and spreading it. You'll have less chance of getting seriously ill, so you put a strain on your local hospital. Get the fucking vaccine or get out of my face. I had a guy in the audience Thursday night, and he's got this big USA hat on, and I forgot how the vaccination came up, but he goes, I'm not vaccinated. And then after the show, he comes up to me with a camera. Hey, can I take a selfie? No, get the fuck away from me. You can't take a selfie.
Yeah. I got crabs. I've made this mistake before. What are you doing?
I bet you could sell your Pam Anderson crabs. You could sell on eBay.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yes.
Maybe even your lesions, if you like kind of slice them off your inner thigh or something.
Wow, that's fucking dark, Mike.
What? That's what I talked to the Asian woman next to me after she was rattled. To cleanse the palate, I started talking about herpes lesions.
Yeah.
So there were, of course, anti-maskers who tried to ding this argument of the 12, saying that teacher did go to work for 2 days when she started to feel symptoms, but scientists immediately shut down that argument, saying that factually, most shedding takes place before symptoms appear.
Okay.
So there you go. All right. Next story.
All right, we got this gentleman named Eric Prince, and you might know him. He's the brother of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, and he is the guy who started Blackwater, which is truly one of the most evil companies in the history of international military. I don't know what they call themselves. They do everything from sending, private troops over to supplying troops. They basically are the military-industrial complex.
They made a ton of money since Bush decided to attack the Middle East.
So this guy apparently hasn't made enough money. So he also opened up a line of communication between the Trump White House and Russia. So
that's cool.
He has decided to cash in on this exodus out of Afghanistan, and he is charging $6,500 per head on private charter planes to get people out of Afghanistan. Although I have to say, $6,500 sounds like a lot, but the first body bag is free. You can bring a loved one home with you.
Sadly, it's carry-on.
Can you turn up the air conditioning a little bit? It's getting a little gamey in the back seats.
It'll fit in the overhead bin if you push hard enough, trust me.
Yeah.
Let me get that for you, sweetheart.
Yeah. And the crying baby on the flight is a contractor who left his wife and 3 kids behind because he couldn't afford tickets.
Oh, my God. Oh, no, that's terrible.
What a piece of human garbage this guy is.
I don't know. Is there an argument saying if there are rich people there who want to get out, wouldn't you do it if that was your only way out?
I would I pay it to get out? Yes, but this guy
he's like a mule. He's kind of like a mule. Like,
Yeah.
Like if you pay enough money, this guy will get you out, or it's an end around. You go around the usual means of getting out of a country.
If I was a billionaire like him and I had jets at my disposal, I would send them over and I would get interpreters and people who put their lives on the line for the United States, and I would bring them back.
Well, a lot has been said this past week over who, and people are screaming about it, but who, like, why don't you follow the money? Who profited the most over this? They should have a hand. Instead of the American people being taxed more to get these people, out of that country and to clean up the mess or whatever it is, why not look to them? Because now there's all these things like, hey, can you please, never mind taxes, can you please donate? Please donate right now. We need to help this exodus.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why don't you ask these, you're asking us, why don't you also ask these, list the top 5 or 10 companies,
right.
and this is not my idea, who profited the most. It's
right.
crazy how much people have profited on that occupation.
And Blackwater's at the top of that list. So just to think this guy is trying to fucking siphon more
By the way,
money
they
out
may
of
not
it.
even be. It's so evil. I mean, with the contracts, the no bid contracts that Bush set up and everything.
Right.
All right. Anyway,
Here's a story about a principal who teachers are quitting and parents are pulling their kids from a private Berkeley music school after the principal was fired in connection with a fill in the blank vocabulary test involving crustacean jokes. The principal, Brad Johnson, got fired.
wait,
and-
I haven't read this story. So wait, Tom, what is this?
All right, so basically, there's this
Like
principal.
what's a type of question?
Type of question would be like he would make up a story and he would insert a student's name, and he was trying to get these preteens invested in learning, and so he was making it fun. He was being a little bit silly, a little bit dark, and so
right.
he would take like a sentence and he would put one of the kids' names into it and make a character out of it. So he said like let's see. He talked about one kid was a crustacean, and he called a Jewish boy Lobster Boy, and because the kid was Jewish, the parents said that it was a joke that the boy probably had a crab. The joke was that he had a crab or a crayfish somewhere back in his ancestry. And so the family said that was thinly veiled anti-Semitism because the sentence connected the boy's violent behavior to his crustacean DNA. Humiliating a young boy on the verge of puberty by calling him a crustacean and referring to his lobster claws at a time already complicated with fears and ambivalence about body image and sexuality is utterly shocking from any adult, let alone the head of the school and English teacher, the parent wrote.
I got hit in school. Go fuck yourselves with these complaints.
I got slapped across the face by, ironically, a woman named Mrs. Hand. And yeah. And guess what my mother did when I came home and told her?
Hit you.
Nope. Put me in the
What?
car, drove me to the school. It was like 3rd grade. She walked up to the teacher with me standing next to her, and she fucking slapped Mrs. Hand right across the face and said,
No.
"You don't ever touch my fucking son again."
A lot of violence. Jesus, I don't know.
Well, my mom had grown up at these parochial, like your mother. I talked to your mother about the Catholic
Yeah.
school she went to. They were both beat mercilessly by the
Yeah.
teachers.
My
And
mom then took me in Iona Grammar School, and it was a very stern. We met with the principal after
Yeah.
I got hit in the face. But boy, it seems like a very thinly veiled anti-Semitism. Thinly? I think it's the thickest veil ever. I don't
Yeah.
see it.
I don't see it. And then there was another kid that...
Crustacean? Jewish?
Yeah.
I don't get it at all.
Have you seen this TV show, The Chair?
No, what is it?
It's about a university, and it's about woke culture at a university, and about how this one teacher, he was talking about the Nazis, and he like jokingly made a Heil Hitler salute really quick, and somebody videotaped it, and they put it out, and the fucking crazy protests on it's a bummer. The show is really good, but it's a
The
bummer
left has
because
got to
that's
calm the fuck down. And I'm separating this from real victims and all that. And I know it's subjective, but holy shit, the left, if you want to win this next election, left, shut the fuck up for a few months.
yes, please.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's driving everybody crazy. Like
Especially-
when the overreach is with this political correctness, or at least know how things change. It's not overnight.
And the Jews especially need to shut the fuck up. That quote is going to get clipped out and haunt me.
These fucking lobsters with their claws or whatever this unintelligible story is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
No wonder they don't eat shellfish. They are shellfish.
Oh, dude, wait, hold on. So I took pictures in the dorm. I'm dropping Sophie off in Michigan, and these were not what was up in our dorm rooms. I mean, like in the hall on the bulletin board is the best way. Right, the best way to know someone's pronoun is to ask, and then, which is fine. I'm actually not mocking that, but this is like literally put up in the hallway. And so, like ours were like, here's the number you call if you get alcohol poisoning. In their hallway, it's under the vast umbrella of non-binary identifications. There are more specific labels that non-binary people may or may not choose to. Who's even still reading this fucking thing?
Yeah.
It's like. And so many, oh my God, so many signs about this issue. Anyway.
Not only that, but like, if you get shit-faced in college now, they call an ambulance. Like my son was telling me, like every weekend night, there are ambulances pulling up to the dorms, taking kids in to get into the hospital. I mean, how often did that happen when we were in college? How about zero? And how many kids died from alcohol poisoning? Fucking zero.
Yeah. I think they want it to be a huge drag, you know? Who knows? All right. Well, listen, the pronoun thing is fine, but it's like if we could take the level of that conversation down a little and maybe appropriately put it in like any news organization would, you assess the weight of the issue, how relevant it is, and maybe it's not a fucking headline, like it's not the number one issue, because it's not.
Right.
All right. Anyway.
All right. Let's do some entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, Kiss singer, bassist Gene Simmons has apologized to David Lee Roth after making disparaging remarks implying that the longtime Van Halen frontman was past his prime. From Gene Simmons.
I know, but it's also accurate. Wouldn't he agree? But I guess he was insulting. Go ahead.
It all started when Simmons confirmed that DLR was no longer supporting Kiss's 2021 tour. After praising the frontman as rock's greatest frontman during their heyday, he compared the current-day Roth to, quote, bloated naked Elvis on the bathroom floor.
Well, that's kind of saying he's dead. I believe that's what that image is.
Roth responded in kind, sending Simmons 18 middle fingers via social media. Via or via?
I'm going to go via
social media. Apparently the message got through, and then Gene Simmons backtracked and said, I'm so sorry and ashamed, actually, that I hurt David's feelings. I mean, here's the thing.
Which is, that's the tricky apology. Like, so that's why you're sorry?
First of all,
how about you're sorry for saying it?
Was Kiss a real band? Was it not a novelty with one fucking hit? To me, like, Kiss is for morons. When I was a kid, that was the dividing line between kids that I thought were cool and kids that were not. If you were a Kiss fan, you were dead to me. That's it.
You're going to get a lot of letters. Because they inspired a lot of people to like kind of go for it in rock
and play shitty music, to play really shitty, simple, bad music.
I don't know if you're talking about the Ramones. The same thing might be said of them. Like they were very hooky and very catchy. You know what I mean? Like they were pretty very basic. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, no, they had more than one hit. They had a handful of hits for sure.
No, they had one hit. There was a second one that was kind of a hit, but I Want to Rock
Detroit
and Roll.
Rock City. Never mind Beth, their anthem. Like they're whatever. They had more than one. Trust me.
They sucked. They put on a lot of makeup. I mean, I feel the same way about a lot of the hair metal. A lot of it was just garbage. It was just for show. And I was into good musicianship. I was into, Jimi Hendrix, and these guys were just fucking clowns. And people that like them are clowns. They're idiots.
All right. There we go.
My apologies to Jeffrey Ross, who I know is a big fan of Kiss.
Yeah, same with George Lopez, his favorite band.
Favorite band?
He toured with them as a fan. Like, didn't do stand-up before them.
Oh, my God.
On the plane, going around with them. Yep.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Here's a great story. Spencer Eldon, who appeared as a naked baby on the cover of Nirvana's 1991 album Nevermind, has claimed the record's iconic artwork is child pornography and is suing the band over alleged child sexual exploitation. The album features him as an infant swimming underwater while undressed, his eyes fixated on a $1 bill. In a complaint, he said that he has suffered lifelong damages as a result. He's seeking $150,000 in damages from each of a few of the defendants.
$150,000 for lifelong pain and suffering?
Yeah.
Dude, already that smells bad.
This is such great publicity for Nirvana. They fucking love this. They said that the lawsuit alleges Eldon was sexualized because the dollar bill used in the image made the baby resemble a sex worker.
What?
I feel like the world's biggest porn star. He was often asked to attend events as the Nirvana baby.
Dude, he did. He also posed again for an anniversary photo of that cover.
Was his cock hanging out like the baby's?
No, wore a bathing suit, but literally did it. Went through it to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Has never, publishing maybe has just sold or whatever. But it's such a dumb story. And also it's so, like when you take an innocent picture of like a naked infant, it's the people whose minds jump to child pornography. It's crazy.
They should be arrested. The people that think about that should be arrested and sent to Australia. Let's get back to sending people we don't like to Australia.
That's a very good idea. The world needs a new penal colony. I mean, maybe that's Mars. I don't know. We need a new penal colony.
Right. No pun intended. I was thinking about the other album covers that truly were controversial, and the number one has to be that Blind Faith album with that girl who looks like she's about 11 or 12, and she's topless, and she has like little tiny tits. You know that album? She's like a freckle-faced, very sweet-looking, innocent young girl, and she's topless. I don't even know that you can find the picture online anymore. I doubt the only one I could find had.
I bet Chris can.
Had the. Go to your personal collection, Chris.
When Chris looks up regular stats, he has to somehow log his computer out of the dark web to go into the regular web.
Yeah. When he types CH into his browser, child porn immediately comes up.
Exactly.
Just see.
He's typing it now. It's like blind and it's like NGAG'd. No, don't autocomplete.
There is also Houses of the Holy, of course, has that picture of the naked little girl crawling, and it's a shot from behind. And apparently they changed the photo. It used to really show the crack of her ass, and they kind of minimized that because it's a shot from directly behind her as she's crawling with her legs spread. Appetite for Destruction. Do you remember that album cover?
No, well, of course I remember the album. What was it?
It's like a chick in an alley with her, who's clearly just been raped. Her panties are around her ankles, and she's beat up looking. And there's a giant, like, alien-looking figure standing over her. A menacing-looking character. Yeah. It's crazy. Wow. Crazy.
What would their defense of it be? It was just like a walk of shame after partying?
It's so clearly rape that I don't know what the defense is. It really is.
Well, the title doesn't help the consensual sex and just a little bit of shame walk the next day.
Chris, can you find that album cover?
She was destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're talking about sex a lot again.
It is. The only way to get away from sex is to do our next segment called Florida Man.
Oh, boy. Florida Man. this guy is an official Florida man. This is a headline. It was in the Palm Beach Post. Florida, do you know the Palm Beach Post? The nickname down there? You know, that's where my dad lives.
What?
They call it the shiny sheet. And very, very early on, before other people did this, there were such complaints that when you read the newspaper, you would get the ink on all of your white linens and clothes, that they demanded that it not be a type of ink that can get on your hands. And that's what they make. And it's called the shiny sheet.
Interesting.
Yeah, Palm Beach Post. So, Florida's missing in action Surgeon General surfaces to say he's quitting. Uh-oh, wait, appetite for destruction. Okay, wait, it's a cartoon, Greg.
Yeah. But what does that girl look like? Her right tit has been ripped out of her shirt. Her shirt is ripped and her tit is exposed. Her panties are around her ankles and her head is back as if she's in pain.
I think she fucked that guy to death, because isn't he a skeleton now?
He's standing. She's not.
I think he's the victim. That's how I view it.
Wow.
It's fine. What the hell's the top image? I've seen this album cover a million times and I've never stopped to be like, what the fuck are these lunatics doing? What the hell is that top image? Just some beast?
It looks like, it looks like,
What's the meeting? You might, like, what? Hey guys, we have some pitches for your album. You know, this is going to be your biggest album. Here's some artwork. Yeah. So is that like a half octopus, half serpent, half devil thing that has 1, 2, 3, 4 arms and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 skeletons coming off it? Is it sort of like a satanic octopus with giant knives for teeth?
and it all looks like innards.
That's weird. That's what we were thinking. That's amazing you came up with that drawing.
Yeah, we think we're going to really hit the 16 to 17-year-old demographic of potential serial killers.
But wait, hold on, guys. That's only half the cover. Or how about this? There's 2 drawings that are unrelated. Maybe they couldn't decide. And they're like, let's flip a coin. Do we want the rape scene or just this satanic animal that's flying through the sky? And the band was split. They flipped a coin. The rape scene won. The other guys threatened to walk. No, I need the satanic monster also.
Yeah.
So someone's like, yeah, how about this? We'll put both on. They're unrelated. We're going to put both. Although they're not unrelated. Is that the thing's shadow underneath?
Well,
above
Chris
the rape victim?
has just found a little quote here that says the album's original art cover depicted a robotic rapist about to be punished by a metal avenger.
Oh.
The band stated the artwork is a symbolic social statement with the robot representing the industrial system that's raping and polluting our environment. Nah, that looks more like it's raping a woman.
That is the most feeble attempt at a backstep I've ever read.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is literally like the conversation about the album cover in Spinal Tap. Like, more black, can't get more black. You know, like it's a bunch of morons talking art.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. Meanwhile,
What band do you think has the best album covers of all time?
You know, immediately people go to Pink Floyd, I think, as one.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm missing huge ones. Zeppelin was all over the place.
Prince had amazing album covers.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know enough of them actually.
Stones had great album covers. Remember Her Majesty's Secret Service or what it was called, and it was like a holograph, and they were all dressed in like wizards hats and stuff.
Well, they had Andy Warhol help them. Andy Warhol helped out a couple of great album covers. Velvet Underground with the banana.
Right.
And then I think Andy Warhol did the Sticky Fingers, which literally had a man's zipper, his fly of his pants, with a practical zipper that you could unzip.
Right.
To get to the cock. That was the artistic implication. Although
now,
the zipper, I think the zipper represented the industrial complex. That was.
I think when I was a kid, my understanding of sticky fingers was after you fingered a girl, you had sticky fingers. So I think that the zipper is actually a woman's jeans on the front cover.
Wouldn't the woman? No, it wasn't. Wouldn't the woman have sticky fingers after her business downstairs with the guy?
She certainly would, but I was always sort of told that sticky fingers referred to manually stimulating a woman's vaginal region.
Huh. All right. I don't want to go into my feelings about that, but also sticky fingers most popularly refers to someone who steals.
Yep.
I think maybe it's that people are stealing a lot of jeans, and that's why it's on the cover and called Sticky Fingers.
The military-industrial complex is stealing a lot of jeans from
denim.
raped women.
I think so. Anyway, that best album covers, people should write in, and not individual, because there's amazing individual ones like over time. But what band in general? Oh, I know. People are going to like didn't Blue Oyster Cult and Yes. So the nerd army is going to say like Yes. And because they had like Escher type drawings and like these weird things that people would nerd out on.
Right.
And Blue Oyster Cult, Moody Blues.
Grateful Dead had some very cool ones if you like the Dead.
Yeah. Anyway. But they are representative. Like Talking Heads would have very, sort of, I don't know how you would describe the artwork, but it was like high end, high concept art.
Right.
And they would feature artists, who were doing that. Anyway, all righty, Roo.
All right.
Oh, I do know one thing. Rolling Stones album covers, you brought that up. Get Your Yayas Out. God bless him, actually had Charlie Watts on the cover.
He was holding a hat in his hand, right?
And he was next to a mule. And that album cover came to be when the Rolling Stones heard the Bob Dylan lyric from Visions of Johanna. Jewels and binoculars hang from the head of a mule. And so that's why that album cover came up.
Wow.
See
so
that?
They took their name from him, and then they took their
I
album
wouldn't say
cover
they
from
took
him.
their name from him, but yes.
No, it wasn't from him. It was previous to that, right? It was more like Muddy
Like
Waters.
a Rolling Stone was 66, the album.
Right.
The song. All right, what do we got?
Florida Man.
Oh, sorry. Are we still doing that? Okay, Florida Man. He's quitting, the Surgeon General. Ready? His name is Rivkees. He was appointed 2 years ago, and he disappeared April 13th, 2020, moments after addressing the public about the then new COVID-19 pandemic. Quote, "We don't have a vaccine at the present time, so our mitigation measure is the social distancing," Rivkees said at a news briefing at the Capitol. This is on April 13th, 2020. "As long as we're going to have COVID in the environment, and this is a tough virus, we're going to have to practice these measures so that we are all protected." Rivkees didn't even get to stay for the end of his briefing. He was spirited away immediately by a Governor Ron DeSantis staffer on the pretext of attending a meeting, which was later determined by public records, this writer wrote it this way, to have violated the space-time continuum because the meeting had occurred hours earlier that day.
Maybe he was in the West Coast when they ushered him away.
Even though Rivkees proved to be right, he was decidedly off message with the virus be damned public stance the Florida's governor was working so hard to cultivate as his political brand. Rivkees, a pediatrician by trade, should have had a lot to say as DeSantis threatened to punish school districts that defied his mask optional order, but Rivkees was missing in action. Maybe he was even locked up or exiled on a remote island. The Tampa Bay Times examined DeSantis's email during the first 6 months of this year and found that the governor didn't have a single one-on-one meeting with Rivkees that whole time. But during that same time period, DeSantis had one-on-one conversations with Sean Hannity 8 times, Laura Ingraham 7 times, and Tucker Carlson 6 times.
Yeah, this guy's really positioning himself to run for higher office. DeSantis. He's
his whole state. Do you hear Tampa mayor said, F you? Tampa mayor's like, and by the way, the same thing you're saying, DeSantis, no bigger government's going to tell us individuals what to do. Well, that's what we're doing. Tampa, of all places, which is literally an amusement park, they are defying the mask, the mask mandates.
So they're
I guess.
enforcing the mask mandate.
Mandates. They are enforcing it, and
Right.
so are other Miami-Dade also, and then a Supreme Court justice, a state Supreme Court justice in Florida, has said what DeSantis did was unconstitutional. So this is how you know you're dealing with a full-blown fucking idiot. Here's a political move DeSantis should have done. He should have made that judge and the Tampa governor and other people the bad cops. He's going to be the good cop who didn't want it to go this way, but hey, and then with these mandates, pro-mask mandates, being forced legally on him, the numbers will start to go down. The hospitalizations will start to go down, and he wins, and yet he could stay fully standing in his anti-mask position. That's what a smart politician would do. This fucking moron can't even do that. He's going to appeal these decisions and keep fighting.
Yeah, and
so
it's
he's
starting
on
to turn
record
on
for
him.
being violently against them, like even, and will maybe even overturn some.
He's starting to drop in the polls. People are starting to get a little tired of his fucking antics. He's not running a state. He's running a political campaign for himself at this point.
It's so crazy. All right, anyway.
Let's
All
go
right,
international.
Let's do it.
In China, archaeologists in northern China discovered two ancient skeletons holding each other with their arms wrapped around each other's waists and the woman pressed up against the man's shoulders. They belong to a man and woman from 1,500 years ago. The message was clear. Husband and wife laid together, embracing each other for eternal love during the afterlife, the authors said. Burials of love and burials with love must be abundant. However, evidence of direct materialization of love in burials are very rare and rarer in skeletal forms. Well, first of all, one of them died first. So one of them had to hold on to a corpse so they were in the right pose.
Okay. Or they're not even married and this dude's having sex with a dead woman. I mean, no one makes room. Well, first of all, how do they know they're married?
Yeah.
Or maybe the wife, this is the guy with his side piece, and the wife caught them and killed them, shot them both. And that's how they're still in an embrace.
That makes a lot more sense because
Why does
otherwise,
everyone
yeah. Otherwise, you got a dead person being held by a live person for, it could be weeks until they
smothered
die.
her. Yeah. He raped her to death. How about that's the Guns N' Roses?
Mike, we're just trying to get away from
that's
that.
That's the Guns N'
a little
Roses album cover.
bit. Yeah.
But why does everyone romanticize this thing?
Yeah. Well, it's China, and they're trying to control. They control the message on even archaeological discoveries. They have to try to control the message.
Wow. All right.
Let's go to sports.
Let's do it. All right. Jake Paul fight tonight against Tyrone Woodley. And Chris, our expert in people trying to beat the shit out of each other in a cage, he is saying that somehow Jake Paul is the favorite. So I guess what these Instagram brothers are doing, or whatever, YouTube brothers, they're only boxing is what Chris explained to us before the show today. So they would get killed if it was like MMA. So they're only going in and boxing these guys who aren't really dedicated boxers. Obviously Mayweather was, so that was different when his brother took on Mayweather. All right. And again, old. So Tyron, the guy he's fighting, Tyrone Woodley, is 39 years old.
He weighs 30
Paul?
less pounds than the other guy.
Is Jake Paul in his 20s?
Probably in his 20s.
24? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And what's the size difference? Oh, Here we go. 190 versus one. Oh no, that's the betting.
No, 190
pounds. Oh yeah, 190
Yeah.
versus Tyron Woodley. 170.
Yeah.
Dude, 20 pounds.
Although,
Anyway, it's working. Like, I'm tempted to buy this because I just want to see. I want to see one of these YouTube people taken out of the ring in an ambulance on a stretcher.
it would be
I
so
guess.
satisfying. I think that it is.
Not dead.
Well, I
and,
think.
and they recover. I'm not being that mean, but I do want to see them so incapacitated they don't know where they're waking up.
I want one side of his face to be collapsed for life. Not dead. And, he really is, but he gets it. He gets, like World Wrestling, WWE, he's playing up the villain character. And that's all he cares about is getting people to pay attention to him.
Yeah.
As opposed to us. We don't care if anyone pays attention to us.
Let's do one more story, but we got to circle back to entertainment. We didn't talk about what we watched and all that stuff.
Oh, right. Speaking of paying attention to us, our ratings since I went on Rogan and we went on Bert together, our numbers have skyrocketed, and it's really empowering for us to be able to start to move up to that next level. So you guys, thank you, and please keep spreading the word. Tell your friends about the show. Subscribe. That helps us a lot. Leave nice messages on Apple Podcasts, all that stuff.
If it keeps going this way, I might pay zero money to do this podcast, right? Is there a break-even point on the horizon?
No, we're doing good. We're doing good.
All right. Well, you're keeping all the money, which is our agreement.
Well, you never want your money, because for some tax reasons, every time I try to cut you a check for the ads, you say
it's
no.
Not tax. No. I also don't believe it. And then we've had, by the way, you've used some of that pile to pay for some of our downtimes, right?
Our downtimes? What do you mean?
Like when they're like a couple of months ago when there
All right,
weren't
what are we going
sponsors.
to get into all our fucking... Don't worry about it.
Merch is coming,
I'm writing
though.
you a
Merch.
check. Merch is coming for Christmas. We're going to do a
Oh.
Sunday Papers coffee mug.
A good one.
A good one. And maybe we should put out our top 10 logos and have the listeners decide which one they want on a coffee mug, and then sell
Ooh.
them for Christmas.
I like that. And on our website, by the way, which I learned we had one last week, we should put everybody's songs on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do some work on the website. It's sundaypapers.net, maybe?
It's not .edu because of everything we impart, our wisdom and what they learn, the takeaways.
Right. Let's go back to entertainment. So
No, not entertainment yet. Let's finish up sports first.
Okay.
Because you put a great story in here.
Yeah, this is a great story.
Go for it. Notre Dame. Notre
Dame's Fighting Irish Leprechaun is the fourth most offensive college football mascot in the nation.
He came in fourth, Notre Dame.
Yeah, the other ones are all like Native American people wearing headdresses. So apparently Notre Dame responded. It is worth noting, they say, that there is no comparison between Notre Dame's nickname and mascot and the Indian and warrior names and mascots used by other institutions, such as the NFL team formerly known as the Redskins. None of these institutions were founded or named by Native Americans, which actually I don't think is true. I think one of these teams was based on the original members being Native American, who sought to highlight their heritage by using names and symbols associated with their people. At Notre Dame, the university said the Irish have been an integral part of the school since its beginning and played a key role in adopting the name. Our symbols stand as celebratory representations of a genuine Irish heritage at the school, a heritage we regard with respect, loyalty, and affection.
It's such bullshit.
I mean, I'm
all right.
Irish. I love the little fighting Irish guy. He's cute.
Okay. So I looked up this story, found this. This is a quote from a newspaper. When the school decided on the leprechaun as its mascot, cartoonist and graphic artist Ted Drake created the image of a leprechaun with its fists raised, ready to fight. The drawing originally included a bottle of whiskey by the leprechaun's feet, but it was eventually removed. Mm-hmm. But it's such that's what you want your, I guess, nationality to be imagined as. This, first of all, this tiny fucking Napoleonic chip on his shoulder, angry guy with his fists up.
Well, first of all, they were nicknamed the Fighting Irish by other teams because the Irish were looked down upon at the time. This is going back to like the 1920s. They were called the Fighting Irish as a derogatory term, and the Irish went, "Yep, that's us, motherfucker. We've been occupied by the British for 800 years, and we fought our way out, and we don't take shit from anybody. Now give me that bottle."
And also, you know what? I have an idea for a mascot. Can we call ourselves the Andy Caps? We're the Andy Caps. We're drunk and we will not turn down a fight.
Yeah, all right.
But it is pathetic because it is this angry face on the guy.
Yeah.
And the mascot then, have you seen them? So there's this whole thing about who can be the mascot. You don't have to be short. You don't have to have red hair. But they say but the appearance does play, but they can't obviously specify. You can't hire on that. So anyway, which is weird. But this guy has to be like angry. But meanwhile, like they're up 32-6 and he has to be like, no, not enough. Not enough. Remember, I'm fighting. We got to still fight.
Yeah, well, it's like rich Irish people are still like that. You know, they're still. I don't want to get into that. The Irish can be a little racist, and rich Irish are the worst. Like you look at some of these, like Kevin Fitzgerald in the Republican Party, like they are just angry, mean motherfuckers that are so afraid of
our friend Matt Malloy goes down the list of the despicable Irish leaders, including the
Mitch McConnell.
Oh my God, Ron Paul. I mean, all of them are, and there's a long list. They're fucking dicks.
Your father has a big thing about that too.
Well, my dad's like, when did you become such a fucking whore? Like, do you realize you're nothing without FDR? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, to his peers, to the education that was fucking basically given to us, and that they took care of the GIs, unlike Republicans have proven that they do not over the last 30 years. Anyway, I could go on and on.
Let's not go down that.
But Jews, same thing.
We're trying to get new listeners, and you're alienating.
My ex-father-in-law, same thing with his Jewish people who voted for Trump because it was a one-issue thing. And he's like, what are you doing? So anyway, but speaking of race and the Irish, so when I looked up this mascot, they have all these pictures. Of course, the Irish trying to throw this issue, throw people off the scent. There are these black guys who became the mascot running around the stadium. And I just have to say, when you see a black guy, it's confusing to the brain. When you see a black guy dressed up as a leprechaun, my brain is trying to decide between, is this blackface or is this, I feel sorry for the black guy. Like, I don't know what's going on, but my brain can't do the math.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like someone has dressed this guy up against his will and is mocking him. I'm not saying it's as far as tarred and feathered. I would never say that. But something does jump to me for a reason. I bet the reason is good. That, like, this is wrong. Something about it's wrong.
There's a lot of black African Americans that have Irish lineage because, first of all, in the British West Indies, there were islands that were occupied by British and Irish, and the Irish were being used as indentured servants, and the blacks were held as slaves. Shaquille O'Neal. There's a lot of there is a lot of Irish people, a lot of black people with Irish blood. So it's legit. It's not blackface.
It just looks. First of all, it looks weird. Any grown person who's over 18 running around dressed as a leprechaun, and also, Notre Dame has so many problems. They're the most superstitious university in the country. It's Jesus and a leprechaun. Those are the two mascots. Two things that never existed.
Yeah,
We're not talking about the real Jesus. They're talking about the made-up one. It's like it might as well be a leprechaun.
I would say they can get rid of the leprechaun, but then they have to have a guy dressed as Jesus start doing handsprings across the field at halftime.
So one was dead for 3 days and then rose from that, and then the other one finds a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. It's hard to tell which is more believable.
Yeah, right.
Well, one's mom's a virgin. By the way, I imagine that's a leprechaun. There's no female leprechaun, so I don't know how they're reproducing. It's a fact. There's no female leprechauns.
It's like they're like horsefish.
Even in war.
Yeah.
All right.
My most embarrassing moment of my life might be. I don't know if you were working on Ellen at this time, but I was given a leprechaun uniform, and I was told that I was going to be on the show that day. And yeah, so the cold open for Ellen's show was me dressed as a leprechaun with a pot of gold running around the stage. And they were like, we'll pay you $4,000. And I was like, fuck it, who's going to see this?
Oh my God.
I got hundreds of emails from people like, you fucking moron, what do you do? So anyway, I'm waiting to go on, and I'm sitting on a director's chair backstage, and the opening theme music is playing, and who walks over and sits down next to me but the woman who I have found to be, I think, besides my wife, the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on. Angelina Jolie comes over and sits down next to me, and she looks at me, and I say hi, and she laughs.
I think that would have happened without the uniform.
And then I ran around the stage like a fucking idiot throwing gold coins.
All right, so here's a question. Let's say the next day, the creative is in italics. The creative idea at the Ellen show was, hey, Ellen's going to be brought out on a rickshaw. Get the Asian intern to pull the rickshaw.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounds horrible, right? But get the Irish guy to play the leprechaun. Get the Asian person to walk in the rickshaw. Are these defendable? Like, what in a weird way, what's so wrong about it? I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And to play devil's advocate, I'm going to get the Jewish guy to play the devil's advocate because they have horns. No, but like, I'm wondering, like, what is so, it's very much, it's factual though. I don't know. That's a question for another day. Maybe someone can, I feel like I'm wrong and that would be wrong, but it's hard to articulate why, if it's accurate.
I don't know. Who cares? All right, that's
a good point. Entertainment.
Okay, entertainment. We're going to go back to, and we're going to talk about what? What did you see?
Well, I saw Pig.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage. Dude, it has like a 96 or 7 or 8, maybe 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm not a huge Nick Cage fan at this point.
Wait,
he's kind of
what?
lost me. He's
Okay.
made some bad choices.
Oh, that's exactly why we're talking about it. He's back. So I got called into Netflix to do this show called like the F Word or something like that, and it was a show that was going to talk about the history of cursing, and something came up like I kind of couldn't do it or whatever happened. I didn't get the job for whatever reason, and I wasn't sure. I was never offered the job, so I don't know what would happen. All of a sudden, I see the press release, and since long after they hired the person who's going to run the show, they somehow got Nicolas Cage to host it. And he got kind of props, like he was funny and with it. Because at this point, I'm kind of seeing him like is he still even with it? You read all these stories about marrying his waitress and like his castle in Transylvania and his obsession with things like is it Elvis Presley? Anyway, and he's very weird, but he is so good in this. And it's a weird movie, but I loved it.
Really?
I loved it. So you can buy it, you can rent it for $6 on one of your streamers. Yeah. It's supposed to be in movie theaters right now.
All right, don't tell me anything about it. I'm just going to watch it, and
That's what I did. I knew nothing about it.
Okay, good. What did I watch? I watched. Oh wait, let's talk about Billie Eilish. You turned me on to a Billie Eilish song, and then I went back and listened to the whole album. I've always liked Billie Eilish. I don't like
same.
I don't
but
like
this album's next level.
You can't dismiss an artist because of their fans, or their age or whatever. I found that her early efforts, I didn't think she was like Adele, but I thought, hey, here's somebody with talent who seems to be coming from an organic place. I love that she works with her brother. And all that, and I like that she doesn't have body image issues, and there's a lot of positive stuff about her. But this album is next level.
This album, and I have to give all the credit to my daughter Olivia. She thinks I'm very, very critical because I call a lot of her music shit. I don't know where she gets that I'm critical. So anyway, she knows. So she's kind of been. She has a better idea of like who I would like now because she's seen what I call shit and all that, or a waste of time or overproduced, whatever. so she very accurately had a feeling that I would really like Billie Eilish early on. And so she got me into Billie Eilish early on. And but this album, then she played me that fucking song. Let me find the right track. And it is way down in the album, by the way. But it's the one I sent to you. Hold on, it's right here. And it's, anyway, just listen to the album, I guess is why we're talking about this. It's really impressive.
And it's much more orchestrated than her previous albums. It's got a fuller sound.
Yeah. So the name of the song is Happier Than Ever. That song is bonkers, and it makes me want to pay over $1,000 to go see her at the Forum, because I think that's the cheapest ticket price.
No shit.
Or wherever she's playing. Yeah.
Damn.
No, it's really, 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 really expensive. And everyone in this town, it's one of those where everyone's using up their connections with the music industry, you know, which is for the most part here, and blah, 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 blah. But have you seen the documentary? I already asked you that. What'd you say?
I can't remember if I saw it. See
it. It shows she and her brother in the bedroom where they write and sometimes record the songs.
Yeah.
And this is how you know she's new. She thinks everything she writes is a piece of shit. And that's the one to watch.
Yeah.
She agonizes over the songwriting process. She thinks it's shit all the way up through it. And it's one of those like John Lennon lines, without deadlines, the Beatles would have only one album, because you would just toil with it. It would never be to your level of what you could accept putting out there unless there was a deadline.
Wow.
So anyway, highly recommend that album and everything. And by the way, she really sounds like Billie Holiday on a lot of songs also. It's a full language. She has her own like sort of vibe, which is also a great sign. It's like the Charlie Watts. It's its own feel. You hear it, it's like that's a Rolling Stones. Like it's same with Billie Eilish has her own language, and it's just starting.
No, she does. She does. And she's got real range. I mean, she can sing from like a low, I don't know the terms for tenor or baritone and all that stuff, but like she's got a very grounded sound that reminds me a lot of like Fiona Apple. Like in that song you sent me is very Fiona Apple. But then she can also go super high.
Yeah. And that song also, I was just, there's definitely some Idiot Wind vibes at the end of that song. Like, in Idiot Wind where he's like, I can't even touch the books you've read. When I crawl by your door, I was wishing I was someone else instead. Like, and she's like, you ruined the city. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, that's a difference. Like you compare a Taylor Swift breakup song to that one.
It made me think about
it's like comparing Billy Joel to Bob Dylan.
It made me wonder about her love life, and I didn't go and look it up, but she's so young, I wonder if she really has had her heart broken.
It's in the documentary. She has.
Oh, okay, good. I mean, not good. I'm very sorry for you, Billy. But you need that shit to write a decent fucking breakup song.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I think it fuels it for sure.
Yeah.
But I think these people have a draw until they get wiser, which I'm not talking about age. Wisdom can happen early too, but of like, you're picking the wrong type of person, but there might be a big reason you pick that, because subconsciously you are, believe it or not, you're not aware of it. You are making a connection between great feelings that come from these bad feelings, including great artwork.
Right.
And so there's usually a cycle for. My point is, I hope she makes some bad decisions for a few more albums.
Letters to the editor. Here we go. Timothy Kane suggested From Shit to Shinola as a title for our new segment. What was our segment about?
Yeah, except that only is one side of it. What about Shinola to Shit? It was going to be a revisited segment where this song that we've written off as garbage or whatever, is, what? It's popular for a reason.
Yeah.
Kind of like Freebird. Like if you give that an honest, 100% dedicated listen, it's mind-blowing.
I give it that every time it plays. It's one of the few songs that I will never change when it comes on the radio. Unless
I wrote it off for 20 years. I couldn't listen to it.
I listen to it every time, but it's got to be from the beginning because it's a build song, and I can't tune into build songs. Like, you can't listen to Hey Jude when they're already doing the na 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 part. You got to catch it from the beginning and go for the whole ride.
We'll get into the Stones in a minute, but Jigsaw Puzzle, dude, I gave that a dedicated listen the other day. That song is a build, and it's bonkers.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We also got a letter from Louie Olay, who says, subject line, both of y'all's musical heroes suck. Did you just say that for years you thought John Prine was hokey? Aren't you the same guy who said... First of all, can I not say that I changed my opinion? This is the shit from Shinola thing. I said, and this guy is fucking laying into me because I once had a different opinion. Aren't you the same guy who said he loves Bruce Springsteen? It doesn't get any more hokey than him with his soap operas about young lovers riding out of this one-horse town on the back of a hurricane down the highway of dreams.
You kind of nailed it.
That's right. You did kind of about fucking a girl with your pants around your ankles in the mud next to a river that you're both going to drown in because your dad lost his factory job. Bob Dylan is another one. Oh, shit.
Okay, I can't wait to hear it. Go ahead.
Mike can't stop crowing about him, but the music is also boring. Lyrics are great. I get it. But what about the bed of crap that they lay in?
Oh, my God. What a moron.
He's best seen and not heard, especially live where he's notoriously bad. You should be listening to Paul Simon.
Wait. Bob is best seen and not heard.
What?
I don't think anyone has ever said that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Maybe just you're supposed to read his lyrics and not hear them actually sung?
Ah, all right. It has to mean that.
I would imagine.
But, by the way, Bob Dylan is famous for his sound as well. Like, his folk melodies and songs were immediately like the most inevitable thing that they're going to be around forever. He then gets bored with that. He moves to country. Fucking country #1 on the charts. Yeah. Lay Lady Lay. Like, it's that album, Nashville Skyline, Johnny Cash wrote, read the liner notes of like this new shining star that all of country stopped because this guy's album came out. Yeah. It's Girl from the North Country, Lay Lady Lay. Those sounds are incredible. And his also new voice, where he claimed he quit smoking, but he just sang differently. And then, never mind. Then, when he went electric, come on,
no,
dude.
There are times he does turn in some bad live performances, but it's because he's always taking a risk. He changes it up every time, and sometimes the risk doesn't pay off. But I'd rather roll the dice and see a guy who may like a Tom Waits or like Van Morrison, who's gonna fuck around and something beautiful might happen, or he may miss. But it's not like hey, I'm gonna go see the Cars and they're gonna play 3 minutes and 21 seconds of a song that was recorded at 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
Right.
Boring.
And anyway, just an FYI, I don't know how many listeners know this, but Dylan's talked about it. He came up, and this isn't an excuse, but I am just explaining what he did. So his terrible voice, I guess you would call it live, where it's like, and it's all through the nose. He came up, and he said it was a revelation when he finally did it. He came up with a way to sing that wasn't taxing his voice and vocal cords because he needed it, because he was going to go on tour for how long? Forever. He is like one of those old guard guys like, what's his name? Ray Charles, who, that's my job. I play live and I am on the road forever. It's nonstop. And he had to come up with a way that a human being could sing every night and not like be out of voice on the 18th night, out of 25 or whatever it was. So for good or bad, mostly bad, that's the voice you're getting. So anyway, right. I don't know how many people knew that.
All right, enough about Bob Dylan. Now this one is
not enough.
Max Nichols says, Greg, amazing episode with Santino and Mike. I'm 35. I have this thing going with a 49-year-old fresh divorcee where we sort of made a once-a-month no-feelings hotel room sex session. No problems with it. I just want to brag.
That's the letter?
It reminds me of that joke about the guy that goes into a confessional and he goes, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. I've been having sex with these twins. They're 21. They're from Sweden, and we're doing every position, and it's dirty. It's against the laws of God. And the priest says, well, when's the last time you confessed? He goes, I've never confessed. I'm Jewish. And then he goes, well, then why are you telling me this? He goes, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Max, for the letter. Good for you. I imagine it's going to be hard to keep it to once a month, meaning it could either go to 0 times a month or more times a month.
Yep.
You know what? I want to revisit that movie same time next year. It's a very interesting concept. You remember Alan Alda?
Yeah, once a year for their whole lives. They have an affair.
And they're married to other people.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Milan Kundera had that book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being, where the guy had a rule of 3. He wanted to keep lightness in all of his relationships.
Oh.
And so his rule of 3s was you could hook up with a woman 3 times in a row and then never see her again for the rest of your life, or you could see her once every 3 months and you never spend the night.
It seems like the guy's going to have most of the lightness in those equations.
Yes.
Or the decider, the one who's like 3 bangs and then, don't text me, please.
Yeah.
One side's going to have light, I guess, and the other side's going to be pretty dark about it.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. I'm gonna write a movie called Same Time Next Year, and it's about a married couple, but they're married to each other, and they just meet once a year in a hotel room. and when people go, "What's your secret?" That's their secret.
Yeah, that's good.
How have you been married 27 years? Well, it's not. We're coming up on a month of full time together.
Yeah.
We're on the 27th day.
This is from the Apple Podcast comments. Somebody wrote, you lost a long-time listener. I've listened to all of Greg's podcasts for years, but you both lost me with your horrible language about God on 2 consecutive episodes. I can see the humor in most things, including religion, but you basically said F asterisk, 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 God himself. I can't get past it.
Oh.
Well, that's fair.
I don't know if that's fair. We're far from the first people saying F God, and I think if you were more secure in your God, you'd realize that we are in no way a threat to him, but apparently we're a threat to your faith in him.
Well, and also,
I think you should have more questions about yourself, that this belief is so fragile.
Well, it's also God is a jealous God. I mean, you look at the commandments. The first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Why does he have to say that? I'm already reading your commandments. I'm living your fucking laws. I love you. I pray to you. Why do I have to then on top of it say, I won't see anybody else. Don't worry about it.
Where is this letter?
Is
it in here?
Yeah, it's under mail. It's in blue. It says you've lost a long-time listener.
I see blue John Prine. Anyway, I was going to read. Did you read the whole letter?
Well, no, there's another one that also.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay.
There's another guy who doesn't like us.
5 stars.
Another one says 2 successful white dudes who come from privileged backgrounds talking about how much they hate successful white dudes who come from privileged backgrounds. But I can see why Joanne has a crush.
This guy should write our liner notes every week.
Yeah, I mean, what else are we going to be? I didn't choose to be a privileged white guy.
I was poor till 7th grade. I need to say, can I say that? That's going to be the name of my memoir.
I was born poor in the Bronx. Then my dad made a bunch of money and we got the fuck out of the Bronx.
That's exactly my story.
Yeah.
I lived in the Bronx as an infant. All right, so back to the God. What God do you think she prays to?
I gotta say, it's Yahweh.
Obviously, the one
this
is
is
a fucking
Yahweh
asshole.
Letter.
Huh?
This is a Yahweh God. This is a guy who, needs to be defended.
Got it.
He sends his listeners out to defend him around the earth.
Okay, read this letter about Dave.
All right, you read it.
Hey, Mike and Greg. I like that order. Watched Dave on Mike's recommendation. I liked season 1, but as it wore on, I realized this show was all about unlikable characters. Wow. Okay. The show is not even trying to make you like them. ... That's the point. I disagree with that. It's still funny a lot of the time, but damn, it's a tough watch. Then I got to episode 2 of season 2, and I realized this show is like a rodeo bull. It's daring you to stop watching. Mike, I know you are an expert in what is funny. Clearly I'm not. But the butt stuff, as a professional, you think that works? And of course he signs the letter, Phil McCracken. I do. To me, did you see this episode, Greg?
No.
To me, the butt stuff, first of all, I thought was incredibly juvenile. This is about a juvenile character who's incredibly blocked creatively. And he holes up, pardon the pun, he holes up with a very real music producer, Benny Blanco, who plays himself in this episode. And they are doing what creative people do. Usually it takes the form of ping pong and games and all these things that psychiatrists and psychologists have recommended you do when you're blocked. And they also get very juvenile. And it's that. But to me, the funniest part was when the black guys arrive and they are trying to explain that they were doing this. Like, you haven't seen his butt. And the black guys are like, get the fuck out of here. And how different it is from white culture to black culture that, like, two white guys is like, and the black guy's like, are you guys gay? And the white guys were baffled, like, gay? No.
Were you talking about butt or asshole?
Oh, an asshole.
Yeah.
No, they were like, they got gum stuck in, so they used peanut butter to get it out of his asshole hairs. No, it's it's hysterical. So to answer your question, Mr. McCracken, I thought it was really funny. I have said season 2 starts off slowly, but oh man, do they bring it home at the end of the season. But I actually liked that episode.
I also think in terms of like
and
them
they're
having,
likable.
They are likable, and I look at a show like Fleabag. I mean, she's completely unlikable, and it's the best sitcom that's come on the air in 10 years. It's fucking amazing.
If you have someone that's done or is doing unlikable things, but there's vulnerability. Yeah. I mean, Greg, you taught me that. You knew that way before I did in life, that one of the keys to art is vulnerability. And like, then that's likable. It's when the person's not vulnerable or isn't aware. Talk about Fleabag and this. All the main character talks about is how flawed they are.
Yeah. Right.
Like, that's likable. What are you talking about? Anyway.
Well, speaking of likable, we lost a great one. Let's do obituaries.
And that's all, folks.
Charlie Watts grew up in London, fell in love with jazz music, especially swing and bebop. He attended art school and became a graphic designer before joining the band Blues Incorporated in '62. Met Brian Jones, who would sometimes play at Blues Incorporated gigs. The pair became friends with blues fans Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, and Watts joined their new group, the Rolling Stones, in 1963. Watts was the rock-steady backbeat for the Stones, never too flashy, no drum solos, but he drove the legendary hit songs with innovative, tight rhythms. Outside the Stones, Watts played in various jazz bands and led his own Charlie Watts Orchestra. He did not have the wild party reputation of his bandmates, but he did kick an alcohol and drug problem that occurred in the 1980s.
I think he dabbled in a little heroin, by the way.
Yeah, he got hooked on heroin twice and got off it.
Oh, wow.
Married his wife Shirley in 1964, so a year after the Stones formed, and they stayed together his whole life. Has a daughter, Serafina. And then he's quoted as saying, I don't like drum solos. I admire some people that do them, but generally I prefer drummers playing with the band. The challenge with rock and roll is the regularity of it. The thing is to make it a dance sound. It should swing and bounce. That's
the key. So yeah. Keith Richards said of him once, a lot of people can rock, but they forget about the roll. And he created that for our band. And so I remember asking Ben Hoffman, who is great at music, right? I'm like, what is it when Tumbling Dice, when Bitch, when a million Rolling Stone songs come on? Like, I want to move. You want, like, you're in the bar, whatever you want to, as he says, you want to dance, okay? And, you know, Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, those guys come on. I don't have that. I'm not feeling it. The music isn't pulling my body to like move. And I'm like, what? I go, what is that? There's clearly some secret sauce there.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to find Stewart Copeland this week, the amazing drummer and real drum technician of the Police. And he's very outspoken, and he's a very, he talks very eloquently about drummers. He goes, so when people ask, what is it? What basically the question I just asked, Stewart Copeland said, this is something drummers discuss long into the night. Like, how did John Bonham get such a huge sound? And how did Charlie Watts have that feel? Technically, what he does is with his foot. With his bass drum, he kicks the beat ahead so it has that forward motion. But his snare drum is just slightly late. That's technically what he's doing, but you just try it and it won't be the same. And then the guy asked him about Satisfaction. He goes, Satisfaction is a crazy beat. It's just 4 on the floor, bass and snare at the same time, and there's no backbeat. It just keeps driving forward. So I love these things when you find out, kind of like that Paul McCartney documentary with Rick Rubin, when you find out these new things, and sometimes it's the essence of the song that you've heard 1,000 times, but you haven't like kind of dissected it. You haven't like sort of exploded the song apart to study it.
Although I had read from someone else that one of the things he does that most drummers don't do, most drummers, they crash the cymbal and the snare and the bass all at the same time, and that he doesn't, that he separates his hi-hat from his snare. And so I think maybe Satisfaction is an exception to that, but that was one of the things that sets him apart.
Well, they're saying, and it's not drag, and I don't know the right terms, I should music, but, for lack of a better word, that's what they're saying creates that swing.
Right.
And that swing is movement, and that movement is dance in this case, like the way people are saying, like he himself said, that the goal is dance. That's the goal of these songs. And, oh my God, he was... Dude, I mean, I just went down a Rolling Stones wormhole this week. And Can't You Hear Me Knocking? Just start there. Just play because it's interesting to go online. I always do this when someone dies, and I highly recommend doing this. If someone big in music dies, go on, put their name in YouTube, and put Charlie Watts tribute. And then search that week only. And you'll see Guns N' Roses did their Charlie. Jason Isbell did their Charlie Watts. Dave Matthews Band, just in the middle of the concert that night when they get the news, they will do songs. Everyone will do covers. And it's a very cool thing that happens in music.
Yeah, well, I've worked with this weekend with a guy named Kevin Fitzgerald, who's a comedian here in Denver. He's also the former head of security for the Rolling Stones for like 10 years, including Altamont Speedway.
Oh.
And he was telling me Charlie Watts stories all weekend, and holy shit. He was talking about how one time, because he used to drink, I guess he drank quite a bit at a certain point, and so did Mick. And so Mick Jagger was walking backstage and he was going, "Where's my drummer?
Yeah.
Where's my drummer?" Have you heard this story?
Yeah, I think the way I heard it, he and Keith got back to the hotel shit-faced, and they called Charlie's room.
Oh.
Screaming that.
Yeah, and he came in and he punched Mick in the face and he goes, "I'm not your fucking drummer. You're my singer."
Yeah.
But but I said, "Did he fuck around because he was married all those years?" And he said, "Absolutely not. Did not cheat on his wife."
Wow. And I think he might have become a challenge for groupies and roadies and all that. So it's, you go in there like, who's the one? That's a challenge for the groupie who gets in the bus back in the early days.
How do I crack
Who's the one
drummer?
that says he's not partaking? Really? I think I can turn him.
All right. Let's cheer up now, Mike, with some Sunday funnies.
You got it.
Okay, let's start with the Lockhorns, and they don't get along. Leroy is sitting in a chair watching a fishing show. Loretta is bent over picking up some fucking garbage off the ground, and she says to her friend, "One man's trash is his wife's trash." No wonder she hates him.
Yeah.
And then, so she's writing down a form. They're at a doctor's office or something. and he's mad because she's filling out the form. He says, "Why did you put an asterisk after husband?"
These are jokes.
These are hard, funny jokes.
All right, save the rest of them. You already did a bunch.
I'm just going to do one more out of this
right.
out of this block. She says they're at the marriage counselor, and she says, "Leroy has herd immunity. He doesn't listen to a word I say."
Solid
That's fucking
wordplay.
good joke.
Yeah.
Hagar the Horrible is they are attacking a castle, but his minions are worn out. They look scuffed and beaten, and his friend, the skinny guy, says, "Hagar, the men are too exhausted to raid the castle." Hagar says, "You're right. I have a plan B for times like this. Everyone grab a cup." And now the final frame is a damsel, and she's putting change, gold coins, into each guy's cup as they smile. And he says, "The Duchess is generous to a fault." Maybe because she doesn't want to be raped.
Yeah.
It's kind of a payoff, isn't it?
I think that's what it's kind of like when the mob shakes down. Like, it would be a shame if someone threw a brick through your window tonight. We can protect you from that.
Yeah, we're here to make sure no one rapes you. You got a gold coin or two?
It's pretty guaranteed. I'd say it's a lock. You're going to get raped unless you hire us for our services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about some family circus?
I mean, why not? Which in this case is the question that has unlimited answers. Okay, they're on what seems to be a family vacation. You see the dad in the background with a stuffed car, and the kids are in the foreground. They're in the middle of the desert. It looks almost like an Arizona type scape. And the two kids are staring at a cactus. And it seems that the girl, her pie hole's open, so maybe she's the one saying this. And she is saying they have all those needles because they don't like to be climbed. So, by the way, I think that is why they have all those needles. Like, I think that's why cactus have needles, is to protect them, isn't it?
So now it's a nature show. It's not a comic strip. It's just a nature show. Like you read that and your eyes immediately jump forward to the next frame, which doesn't exist.
I mean, could this have equally said the dirt is really dry here because it doesn't rain? Ship it and go play golf.
Yep.
What the fuck? Honestly.
Yep.
The snakes are usually under rocks because the sun is hot.
The tumbleweeds blow away because they've dried up and lost their roots.
It's crazy. I don't even know how to be funny about this. It's getting so depressing.
Yeah.
All right, let's just move on to Blondie.
All right, let's cheer up with some Blondie. Blondie is where else? At the fucking stove, stirring a pot for this piece of fucking zero Dagwood. She's got on kind of a mint green top. And what's weird is the apron has a greenish hue. And the shoes are green. She not only cooks for this fucking loser, she dresses up to do it. And he walks in with his hands in his pockets and says, "Honey, my stomach is still wondering when dinner will be ready." And she brushes him back a little and says, "Tell your stomach it'll be another 5 minutes," which is a pretty fucking kind way to respond to such hostility. And he goes, "Another 5 minutes?" And she goes, "If all goes well, dear." And then he says, "But I've been telling it that for nearly 20 minutes. And she goes, "I'm pretty sure your stomach has no concept of time, sweetheart." What is with this patience that she has? Why doesn't she turn around and go, "Hey, fuckface, why don't you get up off the couch and make a roast so I can get my fucking toenails done?"
Yeah. Your tummy's talking? Is that what we're having a conversation about?
How about you get no pussy? How about I fuck Herb in front of your face for about a week?
My pussy has concept of time, and it's been a long time since I've been satisfied.
Yes. 5 minutes is about all you last. How about you last 20 minutes? That'd be nice.
Oh, my God.
He just has no appreciation for the life he's beginning. The only thing that's going to check this guy is her moving out for a couple of weeks. Let him eat at that shitty diner he goes to with the cook that's always got a cigarette dangling out of it. Let him eat there 3 squares a day.
Yeah, she really is dressed up pretty nice for cooking in front of the stove.
She needs to take a lover. She needs to take Leroy on from the Lockhorns.
You know what I forgot to do, and we'll do it next week. I want to do a section called Local News. I forgot to do it because I read the funniest. Someone shared in the Nextdoor app, and I'll talk about it next week. The opening line was, "I don't know if this is the forum to write such things," and then she talked about that she just found out her husband cheated on her, and she doesn't know what to do. And the answers are very inspiring. Like, no one took the piss out of her.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's moderated, if people remove those. I think they're usually flagged. One guy said something that was perceived as inappropriate, and he was called out on it, but everyone was giving, like, proper advice.
Well, I've seen girls do that. Like, JoJo has shown me her friends who get broken up with, and then they start spouting shit on Instagram that's super personal. It's like, it's how teenagers communicate now. They put that shit out there.
Right.
Anyway.
But there's funny ones, so we'll do that next week. Chris, if you could remind us to do a local news story.
Chris, we want to thank you for doing a crack job this week. And by crack, I mean you didn't smoke crack for a change this week. We want to thank Beth Hoops and Key for working on the podcast from Midcoast Media. We want to remind you guys, get your tickets now for Sacramento. It's coming up soon, and it's going to sell out. So go to fitzdog.com. There's a ticket link. That's going to be on September 18th. And then also go right now to Apple Podcasts, leave some comments, send some positive energy out, and thank you for the support.
Yeah.
Mike, anything you want to promote?
I'd say Billie Eilish's album.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Rolling Stones. Just kick it off with "Can't You Hear Me Knocking,"
There you go.
Then go to Jigsaw Puzzle.
All right, I'm back in LA tomorrow. Maybe hit the beach. It's going to be like 80 degrees if you want to hit the beach late in the day.
We don't have to share how easy our lives are to the podcast listeners.
Yeah, they don't need to know. They don't need to know that we can walk to the beach.
You want to go pick up garbage on the beach tomorrow afternoon?
Yes, let's do that.
I think that's what we should do.
Okay. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Take it, Ish.
Take it, Ish.